Hi, this is John with The Evolving World. Today I'm doing a little video on LED upgrades. Today we're going to bench test these guys. We're going to put them in the car and see if there's any benefit to these at all. I've been doing a lot of searching online here and everything and found that these were probably the most useful to my purpose. I have a Nissan Leaf and it has LED headlights. It has LED tail lights and also brake lights, but everything else is good old-fashioned this kind of stuff. The same stuff that's been around for 50 years or maybe 100 years, who knows. But it's the same old stuff, nothing's really changed. So I thought, well, you know, maybe we can do something about that, see if we can kind of upgrade, make everything LED, see if it looks any better. So these are the three that I've found that were probably the most useful. So these are like the little accessory lights. So it's like the parking lights, the side marker lights, the license plate lights, and this is the high beam, which yeah, the LED headlights, but the high beam's good old-fashioned halogen, and this is the reverse lights. So let's go ahead and just slap these things in the car, see what it looks like, and then I'll show you the bench test results of what I find. So replacing the bulbs is pretty easy, especially in the front. You have really easy access. All you have to do is turn this to the left, clicks, comes out. You can see in there or not, but that's your access to both your bulbs right in there. And it's just a matter of reaching in here and turning it quarter turn to the left and pull out, and yeah, voila, that's the old halogen. Okay, the fronts were easy, but the backs are a little bit tricky. You need a 10mm wrench, and you take out 3 bolts located right here, here, and here. And then what you need to do is you need to take a pry bar, which they don't say in the manual, but it's about the only way you're going to do it, because there's 3 steel pins that are actually holding the thing in place, and there's really no way to grab it. So I found on the other side the best way to do it is just to take a pry bar in here and kind of pull on it until it sounds like it's breaking, but it's not broken. It's just a little clip right here, and then voila, it comes right off. If you ever want to know what a Leaf looks like without a left rear tail light, this is what it looks like. All kinds of grime gets in here too. It's kind of amazing. But anyway, so the little clips are right here. You can kind of see one of them right there. That's what it looks like. Okay, so here you go. This little clip actually popped off. It was stuck in the thing there, but it kind of clips right back in. So these are things you have to kind of watch out for, making sure that these are in place. But they all made it, so it's good. So anyway, yeah, it's the lower one right here. So all you do is just turn this to the left a little bit. Out comes the old bulb, the old nasty halogen, and in with the new one. Kind of see the difference right here. Okay, so there's the new lights in compared to the old lights. This is quite a difference. I mean, the LED up here is much nicer than the old school halogen. You can kind of see my little parking light in there that is LED. Okay, so I bench tested them and I found some interesting information. So all of these lights I bought were on eBay, and they have all kinds of wild claims about, like this one claims to be 120 watts, and this one claims to be 30 watts, and super bright, super duper duper bright, and all that kind of stuff, but it doesn't really tell you what it actually is. It just says that's what it is, right? So I find it hard to believe that this is 120 watts, and it turns out it's not, of course, and this one's not 30 watts either. It's something else. But it's pretty interesting though. So this is what I found. So this is my little chart here. So I found that this little one right here, you know, times 6, these things are only 1/4 watt a piece, which is pretty remarkable, because the old school bulb here is about 2.5 watts a piece, and this is at 12.4. All these are at 12.4 volts off a battery. So it might be a little bit higher if you're running an alternator on a gas car, you know, at 14 volts, or even if the car, my electric car, if it ends up being more like 13 or 14 volts when it's actually operating. I'm not sure if that's the case or not, but I know at least with everything off at 12.4 volts, that's what all these are tested at. So it's interesting though that these little ones right here, you think wouldn't make that much of a difference, but they're actually quite significantly better, like basically 10 times more efficient. So I was actually kind of surprised about that. So even though it's a little tiny wattages, it still makes a significant difference. So with the high beam, that's the one I really wanted to know the difference, because, you know, these were $23, so it was kind of like, okay, this is spending a little bit more money now. And is it really any brighter? And it turns out it's 12.4 watts at 12.4 volts, so putting out about an amp. And it's so for an LED, I mean, that's probably equivalent to about a 100-watt bulb. So surprisingly, it's actually pretty close to what it's claimed to be. It's not quite the 120, I don't think, but it's but for something that's putting out only 12.4 watts compared to this guy who's at 65. Although my bench test was at 56 watts, is the only thing I saw. But that might have been because of resistance in the wire, and it might have been well, it's possible that maybe it really is only 56. But yeah, and then, so the reverse lights here, they are actually, this is one that I really wanted to improve, because when I can't see out that well when I run the car. I mean, it would really be nice to have a little more light. Although the high beams definitely are useful when you need them. As far as but just being able to see a little bit better. So yeah, these are claimed to be 30-watt CREE 6000K, and it turns out that's what I actually got, 2 watts, not 30. Now, of course, it may be equivalent to a 20. If it really is 10 times more efficient, it might actually be about an 18 or a 20 watt compared to the stock, which is 14. Now, of course, even that one's rated at it's a W16W bulb, so it's actually rated at 16. But I find that if this is 14 volts, it actually scales up to 16 exactly. So this might be a little bit closer to the 65 at 14, and this might be a little bit closer to 3 watts at 14 volts. But anyway, yeah, that's what I found. So it's kind of interesting. I just thought I'd share that with you. So that's kind of actually bench tested, you know, actual numbers, not a bunch of make-believe and silly stuff that you see on eBay. But yeah, actually pretty good. I think the reverse lights were a disappointment for $17. I think that was probably not worth it for something you're not going to use that often. I didn't find that they were any brighter than what I have on the car right now. The high beams are excellent. I think they're awesome. I think they're equivalent to a 100-watt high beam, which is, you know, would be considered off-road use only. But for only 12.4 watts a piece, that's pretty amazing. And then these little guys are for 40 cents a piece. You can't beat them. But anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. More to come. Thanks. So that's low beams. That's high beams. Low beams. High beams.